This cameraman right here, this is my cameraman.
Why? What was it for no reason?
It is time to get raw. It is time to get down. It is time for the Raw Down, the number one source for all things WWE, right here at the Turnbuckle Tavern. I am your host, Young Anthony, and I'm joined with my co-host, the MVP Marco of the Chick Foley Show, sporting his extra cooler shirt tonight. Marco, how are you doing?
I'm great. You got to support the best artist in the game. We'll say true. That. I mean, he's none compare to the great extra cooler when it comes to designs. He's done a lot of designs, preferably pretty much all of the Chick Foley show designs and stuff like that. So he's an awesome guy to collaborate with. So yeah, that's what you gotta rock the extra cooler. And the show's great as well. Come on.
He's a good hand.
He's a good worker.
Hands over there at the extra cooler show.
Good worker, that kid.
J-Bone's not with us tonight. No. We hope everything is going well on his side. He'll be back with us next week.
Yeah.
Just had to deal with some stuff. But you have a little bit of news to talk about. I shared my news last week. And now it's your turn to bring up your news.
Yeah, so finally it was the RAWDOWN meetup weekend. The past weekend. I mean, not all together, but J-Bone kind of made a visit to obviously you last first. They made the trip to New York, and they did their sightseeing things and stuff like that, which is pretty awesome. And then he ventured his way up to Massachusetts, specifically Boston. He texted me around 11 a.m. Saying he has arrived, and I was like, oh boy. So we ended up meeting. They were going to a game that night, and it was I think it was the Yankees Red Sox. So just that's beautiful weather, perfect game weather and stuff like that. So he obviously visited Fenway Park. It's pretty awesome as well. So we met up at there's a bar at the corner of Lansdowne Street, literally across. It's it's right across the street from the bleachers of Fenway. So if you look out the window, you literally see people just sit there watching the game. It's pretty awesome.
Okay.
But so we met up there, and we actually sat. I think it was might have been over 2 hours. He was there.
Jeez.
We got there early. The game was at 7. I think we met up around 4:30 or 5.
I got 30 minutes out of that.
Yeah,
guy.
we got 2 hours.
God damn.
I got 2 hours, and I got the wife was there with him, as well as his brother and his brother's wife.
I just got him. I guess I'm not good enough.
Oh man, no, it was fun. It was good. It was J-Bone's awesome. If you meet him, obviously meet him in person. He's a fun guy. Wife's awesome. Him and his wife and my wife hit it off perfectly. So that helped out. We would just actually talk about how awkward it would have been if it was him and his wife that showed up with you there and just third wheeling it. That would have been kind of funny.
Hey, look.
I was hoping she would have showed up, but that would have been made for a great story. But it was awesome. He said he had a great time. And he said he's actually joking how he wants to move to Boston now. So
wow.
Yeah. It was a good time. It was nice. He's actually the first person I met in person out of all the people that we collaborate with and stuff like that. So that was a monumental occasion. So hopefully we can all do it next year.
For Mania 40
in Philly.
Now we can go down in history to say that we were the first two people to meet J-Bone in person. And how fitting is that we're his podcast mates?
Of course.
And now we are the first people to interact with him. So shout out to us. Cheers to us.
Yeah, just creating history.
Creating
history. J-Bone. We're a part of his life now.
But nonetheless, we're 5 minutes in. We haven't talked about wrestling yet, so we should probably do that at some point tonight. A little bit of news to start off the show, but not a lot of outside the rope stuff. We'll do a little bit, but it's really just going to be breaking down the two shows this week. Maybe we'll pit up against the two shows, see who won the week. We haven't done that in a minute. But we shall start off this episode the same way that we always do. That's by checking out the news Outside the Ropes.
Outside the Ropes.
It is time for your Outside the Ropes news. The only really big story here that we're going to talk a little bit about, and it's a continuation from last week. We were talking about Carlito potentially coming on over to the WWE. We all remember the big backlash moment. We were talking extensively about that last week, and how a guy like Carlito appeals to a younger, nostalgic audience. So this would be a good signing for the WWE. The matches that you can get out of this, we were even pitching for Carlito and Roman, which would be fun. But now it seems like our predictions have come true, are coming to fruition. I mentioned in our discussion that Carlito was going to be facing Matt Cardona at House of Glory for the House of Glory Heavyweight Championship. That match did happen. Cardona did go on to defeat Carlito, I believe, by disqualification. And Carlito, as I just found out about this from you before we got on, Carlito cut a promo after the show saying basically that the rumors are true and he's going back to the WWE. And to further add fuel to the fire on this story, it is now being reported, rumored, speculated, whatever word you want to use, that Carlito's return will be at the Madison Square Garden SmackDown on July 7th, which means I need to get my ticket as soon as possible, because that show is already looking stacked. Roman is confirmed for the show. Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest for the world title, I think, is going to be one of those like dark matches that they do after the show, so that'll be fun. And now Carlito's back. So this show is looking good. They always stack up the deck for Madison Square Garden. And I mean, if there's ever a time for you to come back, it might as well be MSG. So let's break this down. Are you surprised that this return is actually happening? I know that we were talking about it last week and, you know, we were kind of saying, you know, it's probably going to happen, but are you surprised that it's, you know, it was rumored and now it's immediately happening? You know, are you surprised that it's happening on SmackDown in Madison Square Garden? Like, that's a pretty big stage, all things considered. The MSG show, that's, you know, the SmackDown in MSG has kind of become a tradition at this point. Every year they do a big show at MSG, be it Raw or SmackDown, really. And more oftentimes than not, that show is a really big deal for the WWE. So are you surprised with the way that they're going about it? Big stage for him. What do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is it has to be something big, right? If he's going to do that, you know, maybe run in, not run in, but you know, maybe he does. Maybe our other prediction comes true and he confronts Roman and wants a shot at the. There's nobody left, and you hear I spit in the face of people.
The crowd pop would go insane. That crowd
go nuts. But I'm a little bit surprised because I thought his initial return would have been that Royal Rumble a few years back that he showed up at. A lot of people thought he was returning then. Right. But he just did that Rumble appearance, and then that was it. He disappeared. So it is a little bit of a surprise that they're, you know, that he's actually coming back because, you know, just from that last thing, it could have been a one-shot deal at the Puerto Rico show. But I mean, I think the crowd reaction, I think, like we spoke about this, you know, just the roots that he has, his family anyway in Puerto Rico, and probably the amount of like fanfare that garnered around that show, just to have that connection and possibly do more shows over there. I think he's a perfect person to have, like we said, in between that, you know, when Bad Bunny ever, you know, shows back up again in WWE. Now you still have that kind of like that legacy act. You have a legacy act and you have that connection to do more shows over in Puerto Rico and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm excited. He looked obviously, guy's in great shape. I think he told that story. Were we talking about that story about when they wanted him to wear the LWO shirt in the run out? But he was like, I'll wear it, but it's coming right when I hit the ring, the shirt's coming off.
Oh no, I don't think we talked about
well,
that.
yeah, because he's like, if you had an interview, he was like, yeah, he was like, they wanted me to wear a shirt. He's like, I had no problem with it. He's like, but I told him like right when I hit that ring, it's coming off because I didn't like get into the shape just to wear a shirt. So basically, he was like you could tell he wanted to be like back in the ring, and I think that probably helped him out too, like that crowd reaction. And he's like I said, he's one of those guys that are like we talked about this last week. He's one of those guys back in that ruthless aggression later era where it's like he was gonna be like in the main event. He was like doing stuff with John Cena at the time, like a lot of the top. He was like in the main event scene, but he never got pushed to that like to the to the forefront anyway. But I think he would have been. I think he would have been like in the Del Rio spot if anything. He would have been champion.
Yeah.
Same thing with MVP. He almost got that treatment as well, but I think something happened. But those are like the two guys during that era that were getting really big pushes, and they were on their way to become main eventers. But obviously, we know what happened there. But yeah, no, I'm like I said, a little surprised, but it's kind of fast. It seems like it's not that far away for his return. A few weeks out, if anything.
Yeah, we're very close to it. I think I already spoke a lot about this last week. My main point was just like we were been talking about, like that ruthless aggression tie-in. I think is really important, and I think it's really strategic for them to bring Carlito if Carlito is coming back at this SmackDown. It's not been confirmed, obviously, but if he is coming back, I think it's very strategic that they are putting him in New York because obviously such a diehard fan base in New York, probably WWE's biggest, most passionate fan base is New York. I don't know if I would have to really consider that one. But that's where you see a lot of those pop culture type wrestling fans who gravitate more towards, especially in the younger demographic around my age, who gravitate more towards those John Cena's, Rey Mysterio's, Jeff Hardy's, those guys who kind of left an impact in that ruthless aggression 2007, 2008 time period. You see a lot of those fans in New York, and they really come out of their shell when WWE comes to New York. You see a lot of wrestling fans who were fans in the past would come to these shows a lot. You see a lot of casual fans coming to the MSG shows, the Barclays Center shows, even just for like house shows and stuff. You see a lot of those fans coming in. So I think it's smart for them to put Carlito in this arena and with this fan base, because you know that he's going to get a good reaction because of the type of fans that you're putting him in front of. Like, it's different if you're going to put him in front of, just a random state, like, I don't know, whatever that bad state was. Oh, wasn't it Louisiana that they had that Raw, that like Gargano, Ricochet, Aleister Black, and all of them, and all
completely
of them
dead.
Yeah, like if you put Carlito in that arena, no good.
Yeah, no.
But putting him in New York, you're going to get a big reaction. I think it's definitely good for them to do that. Tyson is in the chat. He says he will make a run in to help the LWO. Yeah, that's probably how it's how he's going to be brought in. I wonder how he'll be positioned on the card. I think that's obviously a question that we're going to be wondering about until he finally like gets his footing back in WWE. Because the return is one thing, right? It's going to be a great moment to see him come back. However they decide to do it, whether they have him do a run-in, if they have him, announce his return, regardless, I think it's going to be good. But then it becomes a few months from now, where do you see Carlito kind of fitting in as a puzzle piece in the grand scheme of things? And that's where you kind of have to think, is there going to be a spot for him that's not just going to just shove him right down the card, just shove him out of the way? Because you look at somebody, if we're talking about ruthless aggression guys, you look at somebody like Shelton Benjamin. He was brought back in 2016 for the draft. He was supposed to come back sooner, around when the draft happened. I think he was injured or something, along those lines, and his return got delayed. And then he comes back and he's immediately in a tag team with Chad Gable, and he never makes it past like the lower mid card after that. So are you worried that this is going to be also the case for Carlito, or does he have that leverage with the LWO? But also keep in mind, the LWO isn't a main event tag team talent either. Like they're still also struggling right now to even get wins. So do you have a worry about Carlito fitting in this roster?
No, I think it actually, if he does go with the LW, it'll definitely benefit them. I believe if he's with them, I think he'll fare better than Shelton Benjamin in the sense where Carlito, as a singles competitor, was already like pretty popular with the crowd, being the heel anyway. Obviously with the Apple and all that stuff they were doing with him when he was around. But yeah, I don't think he'll get the same. I don't think he'll fall in the same pattern as Shelton Benjamin. Obviously their personalities are totally different. Carlito's has that more of a character base, so he has like that to go off of. Where Shelton Benjamin, great in the ring, great athletic specimen, but not the greatest personality wise. So I think Carlito he'll be fine. I think he'll be that person that'll actually be able to wrestle with the LWO, like be their partner, being like tag team matches, all that type of stuff. Where Rey Mysterio not as much. Seems like Rey Mysterio's kind of taking a backseat a little bit on TV anyway. I think he's been doing like house shows and stuff, but yeah, I think that's for a reason. Maybe he has taken that backseat, so when Carlito does appear, he's had more of the on-screen presence with the LWO. So,
yep, good points. Good points there. So I'm sure we'll revisit this closer to when the SmackDown happens, but it's definitely a big deal because we've spent 2 weeks talking about Carlito. I never thought that would be a topic of discussion extensively, but I mean, it's good to see him back. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that SmackDown because it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Before we move on, you were talking about this before we went on. Tony Khan apparently getting involved with a purchase. If you want to break that down for us.
Yeah. So supposedly there was a rumor. Well, I'll say a rumor kind of brought on by Ariel Helwani. Everyone knows who he is. Media personality, interviewer. Him and Tony Khan don't have the biggest or the greatest relationship. If you ever see that very awkward interview that they had, definitely go look for it. It's funny. He has one. It was pretty much after the whole, what I call the Chicago scrum job. And, he's trying to ask Tony questions about, what happened, blah, blah, blah. And Tony Khan's basically like, I'm not answering any of your questions, that type of thing. So they don't have the greatest relationship. But Ariel Helwani came out and said something to the fact where the Khans, Tony and his father, are looking to purchase Bellator, MMA, which is kind of like the rival of the UFC. I thought it was pretty interesting in the sense where, obviously we don't know if it's true or not, but I thought it was interesting in the sense where, they were in the running to purchase WWE. They're supposedly one of the buyers. They were fielding options, Tony and his father. And then now, Endeavor obviously bought WWE, and Endeavor also houses UFC. So in my mind, I'm like, not that it's true or it makes sense, but it kind of does. Like, maybe Tony is looking into, delving into the MMA realm and trying to get some of those gentlemen, or even just, do like you did with ROH, just buy the company and kind of run it as a separate entity. So who knows? I mean, I thought it was pretty interesting though, as far as a rumor goes. So I wouldn't, not that, they have their hand in football, soccer, obviously wrestling, maybe golf too. they have their hands in a lot of things. And one of them isn't MMA. So, I mean, why not? If that's the case, I just think that's pretty interesting that they might go that route.
Jake Hager.
Jake Hager, he's a part of Bellator.
That's my response to this whole topic. Jake Hager.
And he could be a facilitator, like he could be that mediator between we don't really hear much of their like AEW's finance, like how they're doing year to year, but I would assume they're doing good enough to go that route, maybe add another like asset under that umbrella. So
true. I mean, I haven't looked too much into the story to really give any thoughts on it. But I could definitely see it happening. I mean, you just mentioned, Tony Khan involved in wrestling, involved in football, involved in fucking everything. The Khan family is practically in everything. I'm owned by the Khan family at this point. So it makes sense for them to, partake in yet another endeavor. Pun endeavor. But
I get it. I like it.
Thank you. So if there's ever going to be one, I guess that is the one for it to be. Again, whatever happens at this point.
Yeah.
He's running 2 wrestling companies. You might as well throw in a fucking MMA company just to really stir up the pot. I think it's also kind of, I don't know if you felt the same way, but ever since the initial sale of WWE Endeavor, all of that happening, it was like white hot. Everyone was talking about it. And now it's kind of just fizzled out. I feel like no one's really brought it up anymore besides like the Vince McMahon stuff, because, even this past Raw, he was involved making the changes. I think he changed the Finn and Seth little opening segment.
Yeah.
So he was involved in that. I think it's just kind of intriguing how we started off, the sale happens, everyone's talking about it, and kind of just fizzles out. I'm not, saying anything if it's one thing, one way or the other, but you would think something like that would be a little bit more discussed. You would think people would be talking about it a little bit more. But it seems like we really haven't gotten much news outside of just WWE has been purchased by Endeavor, and then the company merge. After that, a UFC and WWE kind of merge. I forget what the company's called now. But after that, I haven't really seen much about this whole Endeavor stuff. So I don't know. It's just something to ponder. I don't know if you feel the same way about that, but
no, I mean, yeah, it is kind of, you're right. There hasn't been much talks and stuff like that. And when, I think when like Dana White or any of those guys get asked questions about it, they just like, it's whatever. It's
right,
their UFC, their WWE, and whatever happens. I remember him. He did say that it would be having that door open for some of the guys that might not fare too well in the UFC. They can get another opportunity, maybe going to train and at the performance center and stuff like that, and it kind of opens doors for like even the bigger personalities, if they like the Conor McGregor's and John Jones.
Conor McGregor, don't get him in the
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
awful person. Fuck him.
Sorry. We'll use John Jones and say if like a John Jones or Daniel Cormier, like those like the bigger personalities, if they want to like step foot in the ring or have something happen. But he kind of said it as like a it's a vice versa. Maybe there's someone in WWE that we don't know about that wants to pursue an MMA career, and they can now they have that doorway to do it. I'm not sure who that would be, but
who's wasn't there Amanda Nunes is her name? That she just retired from UFC, and someone asked her about WWE, and she said, the possibility is always there.
That's another thing. Yeah, she could be a big. I mean, she's a big name in MMA. She could definitely make a splash, make a big name into WWE as well.
Right.
Her and Ronda Rousey maybe have the rematch. I'm not sure. Ronda Rousey might be. She might have PTSD. if she sees Amanda Nunes because she kicked the shit out. I'd never. I mean, I don't want to go off a tangent. I just want to like say this because I said this all the time. When you watch like any type of like combat sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boxing or whatever. If someone like comes off of a huge loss, right? Your first match or first fight back should never be a championship fight against the champion, the current champion. Should you have like a rubber match, like a toe in the water type match? Like you get in there, get the rust off, blah blah blah. Maybe one or two of those fights, then you get that championship fight. No, she came out with that devastating loss from Holly Holm, like when she got her like head kicked off. Then her very first fight back is against Amanda Nunes, who's like in her prime, just like knocking everybody out. Like, why would you do that?
Ronda Rousey got back. Ronda Rousey got back in the ring, and she said, "Get in line. I am the line."
Yeah. Let's see how much that fares. But like Dana White, book this shit right, dude. You don't book your big star in a championship match right after a huge loss like that. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You give her a few, like maybe put on Ultimate Fighter or something like that, and have her like, do one of those shows and just have her like, roll around, have some sparring, like something. You don't fucking toss her in the pit with the wolves. Like
she's learning from the school of Charlotte Flair. Just come back.
I am the line. Yeah, dude. Dana White, get some writers. Get some writers for your booking.
That should be a new drop. I am the line.
Yeah, no, it should be. Dana, dude, you got to book better.
Yeah. As long as Conor McGregor isn't on the screen, I'm fine with whatever Dana does.
Jeez.
I don't want to get into it, but what an awful person. And I usually don't badmouth people on this show, but Conor McGregor, I think, is an exception.
Except if you're returning after you got fired, then we badmouth you. If you got fired from the WWE, then you make a return.
Oh, yeah.
Then we badmouth you.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, and thumbs middle, anyone?
That was great.
Oh, boy. Johnny Gargano, man. Speaking of Johnny Gargano, we're going to talk about Raw because apparently he was supposed to be on this show and he just didn't show up. I don't know what happened with that.
Really?
That's right. Well, they were in Cleveland. And I think Gargano mentioned something that he was going to be on the show in some capacity because Cleveland, the connection there, but he wasn't there. Maybe he was going to be involved with the Seth Rollins match. Actually, no. Well, we'll get to Raw when we get to Raw. We got to start with SmackDown first.
Well, before we get to SmackDown, we should say today, I guess, is the 25 years Edge's 25th anniversary of.
Oh, is it today?
Yeah.
Wow.
Been, posting everywhere. So.
Wow.
Yeah, Edge, 25 years of Edge. We haven't seen any this is kind of weird. No countdowns, no crazy promos that they usually do when they cut away and do the little video package and stuff. Didn't see any of that shit.
Well, if today is the day that he so maybe tomorrow they do something?
SmackDown. Yeah, you're probably right because he did make his his big impact was on SmackDown. So.
Well, hold on. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think we've talked about this yet, and this is a good excuse just for me to hit the collar and elbow drop. So let's go for it.
Collar and elbow.
All right, time for collar and elbow. Yada yada. So the whole thing last year. When Edge had that match with Damian Priest, and he cut the promo after the show saying that next year in Toronto was when he was aiming to retire or have his last match.
Yep.
Well, SmackDown's happening in Toronto in August, and it's going to be almost 1 year until that when he made that announcement. So I don't even know if that's obvious. I don't think it's going to happen, but if they wanted to start a retirement tour, which if Edge is going to retire this year, you need to do something special for him.
Yeah, definitely.
It can't just be a one match thing or something like that. He needs to wrestle everyone that he has not wrestled yet that you would want Edge to wrestle in this last run. needs to happen. Okay. What I would do is tomorrow on SmackDown, have it be 25 years of Edge. They haven't even announced it yet, so I'm thinking this is probably not even going to happen. Yeah. But 25 years of Edge, have them announce, do all the little video packages, the best moments of Edge, and then have him end the show and have him say that he's going to retire in August. And from now, it's going to be the Rated R tour. And then, you end the show with whoever his first opponent is going to be coming out, interrupting him. They get into a brawl. It would be a good way to end SmackDown with it not being the Bloodline for once. Again, I'm interested as to what I feel like recently Edge and the way that they've been booking him has been very strange. Because it's Edge. Obviously, it's the Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. But his 2023 has been, he was in the Rumble and he was eliminated after a minute. Elimination Chamber, he fought in the mixed tag match and he won. And then at WrestleMania, he had the match with Finn. It was seemingly cut a little short because of Finn's injury. And then he wasn't doing anything for a while. And then he comes back in the World Heavyweight title tournament, which he loses after cutting the promo on social media. Yeah. Which made everyone think that he was going to win it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're doing with Edge. And I'm hoping that this means that they're at least going to end off his career, if he's ending his career in August, with a bang, and give him that tour of just a bunch of matches, just to give him something. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think about what they're doing? Well, how do you see it going tomorrow? Do you think they're going to do anything for Edge? And how have you seen how they've, booked Edge in the last year? Has it been a disappointment for you? Because I feel like this is also something that not a lot of people have really talked about. Is he doesn't feel like Hall of Fame Edge as much as he did around like that 2021 period where he was going up against Roman and Seth and pretty much on SmackDown every week. So, I mean, what are your thoughts?
You mean when Vince was booking the show?
Well, there you go. There you go.
I think that's like the main thing. Not that, Triple H doesn't like Edge or Triple H doesn't see where Edge fits in anything, but I think that tells you right there why he hasn't been booked as heavy as he was those past couple of years, because Vince McMahon isn't, and he's not the Booker man anymore. It's Triple H that's the Booker man. So,
well, I'm sorry not to cut you off, but you look at Edge and you look at all of the legends that have made appearances in the Triple H era, and you start to draw comparisons. Like every legend that's had a match, which is not a lot of them, they've really felt flat. Cena with Theory, Edge in his run, even Brock to an extent. I mean, Brock with Cody right now has been obviously very good. But I mean, he was going up against like Omos for a while and just random stuff. It just makes you look at things like, as much as we talked poorly about Vince overusing the legends and the legends are taking the spots from the younger guys, now you see someone like Triple H who still includes legends in his booking very sparsely, but doesn't really, when they are used, isn't used to their full potential. Might be a one way to say it, but go ahead.
They don't feel special. That's what it is.
Right.
It's gone. Like Vince McMahon, when he was booking, and a legend came out like an Edge or Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, you felt like it was special. Like you were there for them. They weren't there for you, essentially. So you're like, it was something, Edge is gonna be on. Edge is like, like they like promoted it like weeks ahead or something like that. Like that, like I said, that shows you right there, and I get it because it's a different regime. And you want to focus, I was actually thinking about this. A good thing and the bad thing is we want to focus on the future. We want to focus on the young talent, all that stuff, all the stuff that people have been saying on the internet. They never focus on anyone new, and it's always all these legends and blah blah blah. But now, like you said, we're sitting here going, "What the hell, dude? They put these legends on TV, and now they suck. They're not as like good." So like, you gotta. It's like you win some, you lose some. Essentially, when it comes to this, do you want that young upstart or the young up and coming young roster to prosper and they're the stars, or do you want them to be kind of like the co-stars to the bigger stars? And I think that's where the kind of like the challenge in it lies, is like Triple H is more with the younger crowd, as you can tell. Like, I was just watching Raw, dude, and watching SmackDown, and like literally everybody's new. It's like all new people. It's like literally like if you start watching wrestling in the mid 2000s and you turn on your TV now, you'd have no clue who the hell anyone was. If you see like MVP, maybe you've seen Shelton Benjamin, Michael Cole if he shows up, and he's not even on Raw anymore. But like you'll be like, who the hell is KP? Who the hell is Corey Graves? Who the hell is Bianca? Trish, you might know. Other than that, like everyone else,
it's a whole NXT
Damian
roster.
Priest, Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio. You'd be like, if you like, what the hell? Rey Mysterio's son's wrestling now. What the like? So it's just it's like I said, it's a whole new like different way of watching WWE. I'm not sure if, like you said, I don't even think people have picked up on this at all, or I haven't seen this mentioned. Like the vast like difference of what it looked like you even said 2021 with like Edge running around and like him being this big like presence, and how he like is a backseat. He's not even a huge presence. The big presence is like the Seth Rollins of the world, and he's becoming like the veteran type of guy like that. Not a legacy act, but he's almost in that realm. Roman Reigns, another one. Charlotte Flair, Bianca, all these like new people that are, kind of being they're like almost like veterans now. They're almost like the legends crop that's gonna kind of fade away, and
That's so crazy.
it's weird, right? It's weird.
So weird. Dude,
like
everyone's from NXT. Like you look at just look at their champions right now. Roman, Seth, Asuka, who's the women's? Rhea, Gunther, Austin Theory,
all
Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens,
all NXT people. Like no one's like
Shayna Baszler, like everyone.
It's weird. It's like I was sitting there watching Raw. Like I said, I was sitting there watching. I'm like, dude, I'm like this. I obviously I know everyone because I watch it every week. But like,
right, yeah.
I'm like, damn, dude. Like I remember just watching like and seeing at least somebody from the past on TV. Like so, like obviously Trish Stratus is on TV now, but like even that, like even multiple people, like Edge, Brock Lesnar might be on the same show at the same time. John Cena, you might even see Edge, Brock, and John Cena on an episode.
Yeah.
Now you see like nobody. You don't see. It's all literally new people. It's the weirdest thing to like think of.
You just mentioned maybe sometimes you see Cena, Edge, and Brock on the same show. You want to know the most recent example of that besides WrestleMania? That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Literally every SmackDown. Once the fans came back in 2021, every single SmackDown had Cena, Edge, and Brock on it.
Yeah.
And now it's rare that one of them are on the show.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. It's really not, because now you're allowing those new talents to start to shine a little bit.
Yeah.
But when you are putting them on the show, they don't feel like the big stars they once were. And maybe that's strategic, right? I mean, maybe it's to show we don't need these guys to begin with anymore. They're already in the past, which is a really shitty way to go about a John Cena appearance. And I don't think that's the way they're trying to do it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But when you build up a WrestleMania match with John Cena with one promo burying the future star that you want to put over,
yeah,
and then proceeding to have the first match on WrestleMania be an 8-minute, 9-minute match with Theory winning convincingly. Ugh. I don't know. That's a little not like, that's not John Cena to me. Like, if someone was watching WrestleMania, I would love to be a casual fan who hasn't seen wrestling in who knows how long.
Yeah.
And the first entrance they see, or second entrance, is John Cena. And they're like, oh shit, John Cena is still wrestling. I can't believe this. And then he loses the way that he did.
Yeah.
I would love to be a fan in that. But no, you're absolutely right. It's definitely a changing of the guard, and I think that's for the better. I think you need to keep pushing those younger talents, but there's a fine line, and you can't really cross that line and do it in a way that starts to portray these guys as not bad. Like, I don't think they're being portrayed like bad wrestlers. I just think they're being portrayed dull. Like, they're not being showcased like they once were, like the Rey Mysterios and the Cenas and the Edges. Like, these were the top names. We talk about the Ruthless Aggression era. These were the top names in that era. And now they're just fillers. Like, when need be, we'll throw in an Edge.
Yeah.
Edge was in the Royal Rumble match for 1 minute. Did absolutely nothing. Same thing with Brock. Came in there for 1 minute. Did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, he wanted, like I said, you could tell the focus for Triple H as far as booking goes is more, obviously the younger talent, give them their spot. And I think, that's been a huge knock on WWE for years, is why do you keep on bringing these guys back and taking spots away? And maybe like you said, maybe it's intentional. Maybe, Edge is like, you don't have to put me on TV like every single week. We need these guys on TV to like kind of carry the torch. And maybe Brock's the same way. Like,
Brock never wants to be on TV.
Well, not even that. Like, you don't see him working with like the NXT crowd, really.
Right.
Right now, he's working with Cody Rhodes, who's an established, star or superstar, one of their main eventers. So,
well, like I said, there's a line that you need to be careful not to cross, and I think it's so interesting how in the Vince era that line was crossed all the way to putting the main event, putting these legends in the main event all the time, taking spots away from the younger guys. Like, it goes without saying. But now you see in the Triple H era, it's the complete opposite. Yep. You're giving the younger guys the spots, which is absolutely great, but you're doing it at the expense of the star power that comes with a name like John Cena or Brock Lesnar. I think that's something that hasn't really been addressed. I think the legends that aren't in ring have been portrayed fine, right? Kurt Angle, The Undertaker, Bray Wyatt. The only legend who has been on TV perfectly has been Trish.
Yeah.
Like, she's the only one. And she's someone that,
you know why?
We didn't think we would see her wrestle again.
She still looks like Trish. That's why. She looks better than she did when she was actually like back in the day. Like, she looks younger for some odd reason. So it looks still kind of like, you still get that like nostalgia. Like, if you look at Edge, you're like, that's Edge, but Edge, you can tell it's old Edge. Where Trish Stratus, you look at Trish Stratus, she doesn't look like old Trish Stratus. She just looks like Trish Stratus. It's weird.
Maybe that has to do with, and this is also something that I brought up a few weeks ago, the fact that we're seeing something with a legend wrestler that we don't normally see, and that's a reinvention. Sure, Trish has been a heel in the past, but you never see a star like Trish Stratus, especially in the women's division, who comes back and is just 180, a character change.
Yeah.
We saw that with Edge for a little bit with the Judgment Day, and I like that a lot because it was something that we haven't seen before. We're now seeing with Trish. She's teaming up with Zoe Stark. She's in the Money in the Bank match, which we're about to talk about.
Yep.
She has just the thank you Trish gimmick.
Love it.
She's a heel. It's not something that you would expect to see Trish Stratus. You would expect Trish to come back, do a 6-woman tag, and leave. Yeah. Like, you would think after WrestleMania that was it. But no, they continued. So I think this has to do with the reason why Trish has been so well is because they're doing something different with her. Like if John Cena came back, and I know it's never going to happen, if John Cena came back and he turned heel, I think we'd be having a completely different conversation.
Oh yeah,
because there's a lot more that you could do with a heel John Cena, and I think that's why Brock has been doing a little bit better lately because they turned him heel against Cody, and now there's something for him to do.
He did the face thing for a little bit,
right? And that was Roman. Just pushed down. Like no one
Cowboy
really
Brock,
cared
dude,
about that.
That's a reinvention, dude. Cowboy Brock was like. It was epic.
Cowboy Brock. no one made Cowboy Brock except for Brock. He was just like, I'm gonna wear my flannel and my cowboy.
I'm gonna wear my flannel, my tight jeans, my cowboy boots.
And they just said, all right, just do whatever you want. Please don't walk out again.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, so good. But there's that. And then, you need the reinvention. Like, how many times can we see Edge be good Edge, then the next match be Brood Edge, and then come back as the rated R superstar? Where Trish,
I'm so fucking sick of Brood Edge.
Yeah, like Trish, the last time she was here was well over 10 years ago, maybe even longer than that, maybe 15 years ago, 16. So it's like every time we've seen Trish recently, she's always been a good guy, like babyface, teaming up with it. But just this, having her turn heel was like I think that was perfect for her character now, and her actually taking on that, what, I am the reason why, I am the trailblazer for all these women. Let me use that gimmick as because she's ruffling feathers out there with the other pioneers, the other wrestlers out there.
Right.
Alundra Blaze wasn't too happy with her with that, but
which could just be a work, but
I know it could be, but you can't. It's true. It's Trish Stratus. They said she can still wrestle. She can still go. Whatever she's doing, regimen wise, I don't know, Fountain of Youth or something. I don't know what the hell she's doing, but insane.
Before we move into SmackDown, because you mentioned reinvention, and this has nothing to do. Well, it does have somewhat of what we were just talking about, but because we mentioned Brood Edge. I swear to God, if we ever see Brood Edge in WWE ever again, I'm never watching again. I'm going to cancel this show. WrestleMania made absolutely no sense. It was cool with the South of Heaven and all that shit. It was great. Tell me a single time in the Attitude Era where the Brood came out with the metal mask and wings and South of Heaven.
Never.
It's not Brood Edge. It's just Edge being cool. Yeah. You should have just, instead of putting Brood Edge on the Titantron, just put, this is a cool version of Edge in 2023. And Edge I would have been like, all right, makes sense.
Edge with a mask. That's all.
Edge
really
with a mask. That's all you needed to say. But alas.
I need someone to step up.
Yeah. So, so before we get into the Raw stuff, we kind of talked about, Vince McMahon changing things.
Mm-hmm.
You think that change was for the good at the beginning of Raw, him getting attacked by Finn Balor? What do you think? And I'll yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about Raw after. I want to talk about SmackDown first to keep it in order.
SmackDown, all right. Sweet.
So I'll keep you waiting for my answer, but that'll be the first thing we talk about once we get there. But let's start it off with...
And SmackDown sucks.
No.
Well, no, it doesn't.
Not this past week.
That's the only drop I have for SmackDown.
Hear me out.
Hear me out. So we'll just go blow for blow. Some stuff maybe we'll skip a little bit past, but we start things off with the obviously Roman and Solo, Paul. They come in with the limo. So this story weaves throughout. We get a lot of Paul and Roman and Solo getting involved. There's a lot of Paul Heyman being sent out to talk to Jay, being sent back. Roman's pissed. Solo tries to get involved. This happens throughout the show.
Yep.
I really love this booking that you tie that story throughout the show. I've always said that I think this is a really smart way to book stories for wrestling. I know the bloodline happens every week.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But the way that they book the Bloodline, they could be booking so many other stories the same way. Have one story just weaved through the entirety of a show, because then it'll give you enough so that there's 4 SmackDowns in a month. You do that for one show, or maybe 1 or 2 shows, and then the other shows you just do maybe a quick promo or a video package or a match. But give me one show, let's say with like Trish and Becky Lynch, one show where the main story, the A story, if you will, of that Raw is Trish and Becky, and we get multiple segments throughout the show with the 2 of them. They do it for the Bloodline, and it works perfectly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I would love to see them kind of do that for other stories. I don't think it'll work just because of the sheer magnitude of the Bloodline story, but makes you wonder. But nonetheless, we'll talk a little bit about the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship Gauntlet. Pretty Deadly won the Gauntlet match, and they will be facing off against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in London on the SmackDown before Money in the Bank. Were you happy with this decision to let Pretty Deadly get the win here? I don't see them winning.
No.
I don't think anyone sees them winning, really. And what are your overall thoughts of Pretty Deadly so far on the main roster? Do you think they've been booked well? They've been paired with Austin Theory. Give me your progress report on Pretty Deadly so far.
I like Pretty Deadly. I love them on NXT as well. Definitely love their gimmick. The yes boy, that thing is great. Love that they carried over. Didn't change the gimmick at all. They appeared as Pretty Deadly on SmackDown. No name changes or nothing. They kept their shoes up. And I like the fact that they're being booked as a not a threatening tag team, but a prominent tag team. Because they are. They're like one of the limited, numbers of tag teams on SmackDown anyway. So I think they're booking them the right way. And I was expecting them to win. If it's in London, obviously they're, that's their neck of the woods. And I think they should be pushed in that direction as one of the, prominent tag teams. They have a great gimmick, dude. I mean, like I said, I'm a fan of them. So I'm glad they're being kind of booked properly in the sense where they get these big wins and stuff like that.
Yeah. I didn't realize that they were in London for this match, and Pretty Deadly is, a British tag, right? They're British.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
they do
we'll
win.
a little bit of a swerve here.
Maybe. Speaking of storylines, because obviously we're not on Raw yet, but there is kind of like I don't think it's like fully developed yet, but there is some type of Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn storyline brewing as a tag team. I'm not sure if you noticed that at all, but
hot takes here. Get your hot takes here.
Sorry, I'm drinking water. This is your daily reminder or your weekly reminder to drink water before you give a hot take. This version of Kevin Owens is the worst version of Kevin Owens in the WWE. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If there's a story to it with Sammy, said last week, maybe it'll help. But it's way too goofy for me. This whole, I'm looking at your face, and I don't like your face, and I'm getting mad, and I'm going to blow. And then Sami Zayn's got to be the peacekeeper. It's at this point, put the titles on Pretty Deadly, because I don't like what they're doing with Kevin Owens right now. I don't get it. And maybe that's why I don't like it, because I don't understand it. Is there more to this? Who cares? Kevin just looks like a goof. I'd rather... This is the same Kevin Owens that first Raw under Triple H. He had that great match with, Drew McIntyre. Heel Kevin Owens came back with the NXT look and everything. People are like, "Oh, we're gonna get serious Kevin Owens finally."
Cut the crazy promo on freaking. He's another one that he buried Austin Theory too. If everyone forgets,
it's like a rite of passage to bury
long before
Austin
John
Theory.
Cena did.
Yeah.
he called Austin Theory a dime a dozen.
Right.
Pretty much. There's a bunch of people that look like you, and there's not many that look like myself. Sammy, Johnny Gargano. That's why we succeed, and you pretty much won't because the way you look, and you just look like a muscle bound idiot. Pretty much. That's it. And people forget that he was like the first one that kind of called Austin Theory out on his shitty gimmick that nobody cares about.
I mean, and now we're talking about a shitty gimmick that no one cares about for Kevin Owens.
Exactly.
So full circle moment there.
There we go.
Kevin Owens has proven to be one of the best in the ring. He just had a fantastic match with Gunther. Was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
So good.
And so there's no doubt about it that he is, when he gets in the ring, fantastic.
Yeah.
We don't need to do this silly stuff. Come on.
The good cop, bad cop type of deal.
Yeah.
The buddy comedy.
There's no reason to.
Maybe they're positioning for a movie. You never know. Maybe they're positioning.
Hey, look,
for
WWE Studios hasn't put out a chaperone in a while, so maybe we'll get a.
I'd like to see an R. Maybe we'll say probably have to be PG-13, but maybe a PG-13 theatrical release, but an R-rated uncut comedy with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I think they could pull it off. Kind of like a Pineapple Express deal, where it's like an action comedy thing. I think it'd be pretty funny. I think they could pull it off.
If you say so, Mark. Let's move on. We've got Zelina Vega defeating, I was about to say Dakota Sky, Io Sky. Good win for Zelina here. Needed a win. Hasn't been getting any win. I mean, the LWO just doesn't win. Hopefully Carlito will change things for them. Starting to feel the tension between Io and Bailey. Obviously, Damage Control doesn't look like they're going to be sticking around for much longer, especially with Dakota on the shelf with the injury. So seems like they're going to split up Io and Bailey. How do you think they're going to do this? Is it going to happen at Money in the Bank?
Yeah, that's what I think. Probably not a full-blown thing, but it'll probably, Money in the Bank, and then it'll spill over onto Raw, something like that. But I think on Money in the Bank, you'll see the beginnings of it.
Right.
The ladder. So both will be climbing at the top of the ladder. One will pull the other one down, that type of thing, or miscommunication. I don't know. Well, I think you'll see like a weaving of the storyline during that event. Like you'll see like them coming up with a game plan or something like that, and then obviously it goes awry. And like I said, you'll see the spillover on Raw or something like that.
Does it go awry, or does it go shirai?
Wow, you killed it with the
I'm on
with the
fire
dad jokes tonight.
Hey, look, I think something interesting is not a lot of people have mentioned this match because obviously we're getting the tag team title unification tomorrow,
Which is weird.
But another match is happening on SmackDown: Bayley versus Shotzi. The winner goes into Money in the Bank. So Bayley's putting up her Money in the Bank spot.
Yeah,
Shotzi. I think this is more interesting than maybe it'll be made out to be, because who fights with their spot in Money in the Bank? You know what I mean? Like that's never a match that really happens. Like you're fighting for someone's spot who's already been put in. And if you really consider it, every person who is in these Money in the Bank matches, both men and women, haven't won the Money in the Bank before, except for Bayley. So I wonder if this is a way to kind of
get her out.
I wonder if this is a way to kind of damage control the situation, and
oh my God,
get Bayley out of the match and put someone like Shotzi, who hasn't won the Money in the Bank before.
Yeah,
because you could still do Bayley and Io tension without Bayley in the match. I mean, it could just be something like, I'm not in the match anymore, but it doesn't matter. I still got my best friend Io is going to be in this match, and we're going to we're going to fucking win. And Bayley tips the ladder over. Like, it's something as easy as that. Another reason why I think they might be taking Bayley out of this is because we already have on the Raw side Becky, Trish, and Zoe, who are all in a story together.
Mm-hmm.
So are we also going to have Bayley and Io in this match, who are also partners? Is it going to be two sets of tag teams, one person who is going up against those tag teams, like who's rivalying with them? Or would you rather take out one of those members of one of those tag teams, throw in someone who hasn't been in the match before, but is still being pushed, like Shotzi? I mean, not pushed, but still is one of those names that could work in Money in the Bank. I think it's a win-win if they throw in Shotzi in this one.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're probably going to play it off like, because Bayley kind of she cheated. That last, what was it? Was it last? Yeah, the last SmackDown. She when Shotzi was on the top rope and she grabbed her leg and she fell off the top. So maybe it's kind of like you kind of cheated me out of my spot. So now I'm going to fight you for your spot, that type of thing. That's why I think they're going to play off of it. But yeah, I think it's. I mean, it could be something where Io's out there and during the match another miscommunication makes Bayley lose, and that gets Shotzi into the Money in the Bank match, which I think is probably going to happen. I think Io's going to cause Bayley to lose, not on purpose, obviously, but on accident.
Some miscommunication.
Yeah, and then that'll start maybe Bayley will come out during the, like you said, Money in the Bank ladder match, and she'll be out there showing support, quotation marks, and then
and shit'll hit the fan.
Exactly. So, yeah, we could see that happening.
Good win for Zelina Vega here. Like I said, needed one because I think it's safe to say that she isn't going to win the Money in the Bank. Honestly, I don't know who's winning this match. Maybe it is Zelina Vega. I mean, you look at it, you have Becky, Trish, and I was about to say Lita. Becky, Trish, and Zoe, who are all tied into their story together. So it makes you think, are they going to just let them continue their story after Money in the Bank? Not even worry about putting the Money in the Bank on any of them, because then it'll give one an advantage over the other. So right then and there, you have three competitors. Probably might not even win the match to begin with, since they're already in a story. And now you have Io, you have Zelina, and you have probably Shotzi, all on SmackDown. And all of them haven't really been built up to be a winner of this match. Like, Zelina has had a good couple of months with Backlash. Io has been... Io had a good match at Backlash, but she's been relatively cold with this Damage Control feud since it hasn't really picked up steam yet. And Shotzi hasn't really done much except for, I think, she was Raquel's tag team partner. So I don't know who's winning this one. This is going to be a hard one to predict.
Yeah, it is kind of hard because the person that usually wins the Money in the Bank ladder match is like the person that's like on the verge of like, you want them to win a title, pretty much. You want them to become a champion at some point. And it's, the women's one's kind of hard to call because I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think anyone's cashing in on Rhea. Personally, I think I think they're going to start building the, Raquel Rhea type feud. Because they did face each other in NXT before, so there is some history there. So I think the cash-in is definitely going to be on if they do win, depending on who the champion is at the time, which I'm assuming is going to be Charlotte. I feel like she's going to win. And that'll set up, Bianca and Charlotte at SummerSlam, maybe. I'm thinking anyway. Then we'll get to, obviously, SmackDown after. But, I don't know. The women's one's kind of hard to predict. I have no clue who's going to win. Like, I don't see anyone cashing in, right? I don't know. It's weird. I just don't see, the excitement of whoever wins that briefcase cashing in and winning on somebody.
Or maybe this is the year that someone cashes in and they don't win. Every women's Money in the Bank so far, they have cashed in and they've been successful. Maybe this is the year that doesn't happen. But since you mentioned SummerSlam, I think I'm pretty set on. I don't know if I said last week what my women's title matches were going to be. I probably did. And I don't know if I included this person, but I'm pretty set on the SummerSlam matches being Bianca and Charlotte and Rhea and Raquel. I think those are your four, right? It's Bianca, it's Charlotte, it's Rhea, and even though she hasn't been like a top star in the singles division, Raquel's up there. I think this is finally the chance for her to be the single star that I think a lot of people would paint her out to be, right? It was always Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, and Sasha as your four horsewomen. Well, now you're starting to see Bianca, Rhea, and Raquel, right? That was the trio that didn't they all hold the titles at one point?
Yep.
And then they had that moment down in NXT where they were holding all the titles.
Yeah. I think, Raquel had the NXT women's. Bianca had the SmackDown.
And Rhea
and
had
then
Raw.
Rhea had the Raw title. So, so those are we kind of talked about this where, when Sasha left and Naomi left, it kind of left a void in the women's division. But now you're starting, like you just said, you're starting to see like the new crop, like the new main event stars for the women's division start to creep up. So I'm actually, pretty optimistic with that. Like you said, with Charlotte and Asuka being like those, like kind of like the veterans of the women's division. Same thing with Bayley
and Becky,
obviously. But now you have Rhea, Bianca, and Raquel not taking their spots, but moving into that position to be the main stars and stuff like that. So
as they should, they're the three top ones. I mean, once I saw that moment in NXT where they were all holding the titles, I was like, all right, these are the three. It's not the four. I mean, maybe we can build up a fourth. Because four horsewomen, but these are the three that are going to be the next generation. I was a little skeptical about Raquel because when she came up, she was. It was around this time last year that she made her debut on the main roster.
Yeah,
and she was like smiling, and she was and she still is. She still has kind of the same gimmick. But at least on Raw, and I know we keep teasing Raw, we're going to talk about Raw, but this felt different.
Yeah.
And it's definitely for the better. So I think they're finally letting Raquel come into her own, be that third star that they need, because it's good you have Bianca and Rhea, but you need some other people too. And I think Raquel is definitely a person that you have to have there. So
yeah.
We're already talking about Charlotte. We're moving into the next segment, Grayson Waller effect. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really pay attention to this segment, but I heard good things about it. Bianca and Charlotte took their shots at each other.
Yeah.
So the confirmation was that Bianca is going to be ringside to watch the undisputed women's championship match.
Yep.
And I guess whoever wins that she's immediately going to challenge them.
Yep.
Maybe at Money in the Bank, maybe at SummerSlam. They didn't get that much into detail. But what were your thoughts on this? How have you do you like the way that they're going about this women's division for SmackDown? Asuka, Charlotte, Bianca. Obviously, those are top three names that you can throw in there right now. But do you like the way that they're going about the story? Like everyone is owed a title shot. Everyone deserves a title shot. So now you have two people fighting for the title, and then one person's waiting to fight for that same title. I don't know. How have you been liking the story or not liking the story?
I mean, I don't hate it or anything like that. It makes sense. The only thing I don't think really made sense was just Charlotte coming back and jumping the line
Mm.
and
Well,
get
win
her
some,
shot.
lose
But I think
some, right?
that was like part of the storyline where like Bianca's like, what the hell? And I think that's kind of like what we kind of talked about, her developing her harder edge as a character, not be the smiley. And she kind of mentioned it in the promo. Not like I'm done, doing it for these people. Blah blah. It was more or less like I got to do what I have to do. To
Did she
win.
say that? Did she say she's done doing it for the people?
No. I said she didn't say that.
Oh.
She kind of like she didn't really allude to it. She kind of like I forget how she phrased it, but like she basically said she has to start doing herself. Like she has to
Right.
do what's best for
Okay.
her essentially.
Got
And that's taking what's hers, and that's
I was going to
title.
say, what a heel turn that
No.
is. No one's
So like
no one's mentioning.
we did kind of talk about that, like how she needs to kind of like change her character, not go full heel, but take more charge, be more of like a harder version of herself.
Yeah.
And she did that. She kind of owned Charlotte on that promo battle that they had. She kind of threw a shot at how Charlotte just leaves for like 3 months. And just comes back, and all of a sudden she's like where she's the longest reigning women's champion of the modern era, that type of stuff. Charlotte really had no comeback for that. I mean, she is. She's like, I didn't have to win it 16 or 14 times. She's like, I only held. She's like, I had to hold it once, and that was for. And she's like, and now I'm the longest reigning, or I was the longest reigning women's champion of the modern era. And Charles was like, yep, you're right. I can't say anything back about that. But yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, I like it because now the women's division in SmackDown actually has like a name. It's actually noticeable. You have Charlotte, like you just said, Charlotte, Asuka, and Bianca fighting for the title. And now, at the same time, now you can start bringing in the other girls into it, the other ladies into the fold. Like start slowly, building their star power. I would be surprised that fourth one that we're talking about, out of like Rhea, Raquel, and Bianca, probably Tiffany Stratton is going to be that fourth.
Yeah,
I can see her definitely being propelled to the main event scene when she hits the main roster at some point, because she has all the tools. So it would have been if she didn't get fired, it obviously would have been Mandy. She would have been back in that main event area. I think maybe on SmackDown or Raw. I'm not sure, but
either or really.
Yeah, I think she would have been that. It would have been Mandy, Rhea, Bianca, and Raquel. Those would have been the four, new 4 horsewomen, if you want to put it that way. But right now, I think everyone's. I think it's fine. I think SmackDown's going in the right directions with their women's division now, as opposed to how it was last year.
Well, even Raw to an extent. I mean, we mentioned last week how they didn't make a big deal about the championships being changed, and how did we really think about that? And it makes sense, get that out of the way, because I feel like that was holding back the division, right? The fact that there was a SmackDown title on Raw and a Raw title on SmackDown. Well, now it's Rhea's the world champion. Asuka's the undisputed champion, which I'll still never get over. But that's not the focus anymore. Now you're starting to see these contenders coming out. It's like all of a sudden, once they got these new titles, now we're starting to see all these people, contenders. Charlotte's coming back. Asuka is in the mix of things now. Bianca still wants that title. And over on Raw, Rhea, obviously, big champion. Raquel, now she's a contender. Becky, Trish, they're still doing their thing. So now you're starting to see these women's divisions kind of taking shape. If anything, coming out of this draft, I know people, and people is us, have been critical about the draft. People, wrestlers switching brands and everything. If there's one overall positive that I could say has come out of this draft, it's been the women's division, the booking of it, the roster, the way everything is formatted, the way that people are being utilized, like Trish, like Raquel. Everything's kind of been clicking. even in the undercard. There's a lot of like Mi Chin, Shotzi.
She's growing on me. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
They've been
not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah, like we talked about this obviously with the Triple H booking. These are pretty much all NXT people we're talking about that that were like the whole roster right now. It's just I don't want to say it's weird, but it's just like it's crazy to see that like the whole NXT system actually work properly. Other than the other times, like we said with like Gargano and Ciampa and all that, when that stuff happened, EC3, like they're doing it the right way, and we can kind of talk about it too when we, talk about the World Heavyweight Championship, and we kind of talked about how Nick Khan said they're going to start, doing cross promotional matches and stuff like that, or like storylines with NXT. Because he feels like NXT could be that third brand, and we're already starting to see that with obviously Braun Breaker, and Seth Rollins, Finn Balor showing up on NXT to attack Seth Rollins after the match, the unification. So it looks like now they're gonna. Here's my prediction: once they unify the women's tag titles, now you're gonna see a lot more tag teams open up because there's tag teams in NXT for the women, and now you're going to see they're going to be traveling around. You'll see probably Ronda and Shayna on Raw. You'll see them on SmackDown. You'll see them on NXT, and now you're going to start seeing those like women's champion, the tag team titles actually start being booked properly.
I
think.
hope so. That
definitely frees up. Yeah, it definitely frees up a lot when you get rid of like the NXT women's, because now you can go, okay, these are the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. There's only one.
Right.
And now you're going to have a lot more competition with that one set of titles than you would with the.
It's working on the
NXT
men's side. It's working with Sammy and Kevin. Look, it's now or never with these women's tag titles.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't start booking them now, it's never going to happen. We've gotten multiple fatal four-way tag team matches across both brands. It shows that there are teams. Yep. Some of them are makeshift, yes, but some of them are working. Chelsea and Sonya were a team that made no sense to begin with, but now they're working.
Yeah, they work. Yeah. The Karens.
That promo was good.
The TikTok videos.
Yeah. Oh
so
my
good.
God. Look, I don't care to talk about Karrion beating AJ in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. No.
And upset about that on the Twitterverse.
Yeah. Something else I'm sure people were upset about was Santos Escobar pinning LA Knight again in like 2 minutes.
Yeah. That dude's way too over. I don't. He can lose back to back, dude. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it's. I could see them just letting him lose. I saw someone made a good point about this.
Yeah, they cheated too to win. He didn't really.
He did. I saw someone make a good point that they're making LA Knight lose so that it's not as oversaturated when he does eventually become a main eventer.
Yeah.
Both sides obvious. Of the coin on that. The positive side being, yes, you don't want him to be shoved down everyone's throats right away, even though fans love him. Yeah. The other side of the coin being, well, he's lost so much, so when he finally gets a win, it's going to feel like it's a fluke. So that's also a way to look at it. I don't know. I don't know at this point. Broadcast, thank you for joining us. Let us know what you thought of SmackDown. We're talking about SmackDown right now. Give us comments, Broadcast. Join the conversation. I don't know what they're going to do with LA Knight, especially now with this Maverick thrown into the field at Money in the Bank. Throws a wrench into things.
Yeah, it's the swerve, bro.
Nervous.
That's the swerve.
All right, let's finally talk about this segment. Roman
The masterclass.
Jay, Paul, Solo, all in the ring. Everything about this. Fantastic.
Yep.
Jay walking before anything even happened, right? No one's Sammy and Jay not even saying a word to each other.
Yep.
Powerful. The quote I'm seeing here, Roman said, I was only meant to get us here to the promised land. You're meant to keep us here.
Yep.
We've been grooming you for 3 years.
Yep.
Can't get much better than that.
The wise man say we're gonna start grooming? No. We've been grooming you for 3 years. Yeah, that exchange between Sammy and Jay, dude, that was just like the you know what to do.
Yeah,
You know what choice
you knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what you have to do.
They didn't talk to each other. They didn't even say one word, but you could see their exchange.
Mhm.
You can see Sammy was just like, "This is it."
Jay hit him with that Kylo Ren that I don't know. I know what I must do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
Yeah. It was like you said, that whole weaving throughout the story. Like, my favorite part of that was when they pull up in the limo and they all get out, and Kayla's like, "Roman, do you have any words?" And he's like, "Wise man, your girlfriend." He just keeps on walking. Wise man, your girlfriend, and they just like stares at her and walks off. Because if you a little Easter egg, if you've ever obviously Talking Smack,
Right.
with, when they hosted it together, and just their interviews are freaking hilarious. But yeah, it was funny. But yeah, Roman with all the confidence in the world at the beginning, and then as the night progresses, like not knowing what the hell is going to happen. Not even the tribal chief can predict like what all confidence in the world. The week before, he'll fall in line. He'll do what he always does. He'll fall in line. Remember that? Remember those wise words? Then this week's just like, I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, it was just like people. If you like take that, like, it's just perfect, dude. Like he'll does what he'll fall in line, and then at the beginning of the show, also the confidence, but just as the night progresses, just pleading with Jay. That was the other thing,
Right.
Like, that's what it wasn't demanded. It was like, you will be with us, blah, blah, blah. It was just like, no, we've been grooming you for 3, I was like, it's like, it was just weird seeing Roman kind of not groveling to keep Jay, but just like, he was just, he was pleading with him, like, please stay, don't leave. It was just weird. Like, I'm not sure if people picked up on that, but because Roman doesn't look like he's like groveling or begging somebody, but in his own way, he was just like, you got to stay, because he knows Jimmy's. Everyone talks about like Roman being like the main thing of the bloodline. Dude, Jay's the main protagonist. He's the main character in this storyline. Everyone else is the co-stars.
Yeah.
This all started with Jay rebelling, Jay, falling in line. Jimmy joining, Jimmy not following in line, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. And it's always been Jay. He's always been that focal point. He's always been the decision maker. He's always been like the one that the camera cuts to for the reactions, for the when Sammy did what he did, when Jimmy did what he did. Like, it always goes back to what's Jay gonna do. It's not like, oh my God, what's Roman gonna do? It's always been what's Jay. It's always been Jay. What's on Jay's mind. It's never what's on Roman's mind. It's like what's on Jay's mind. And that shows you right there. It's always been him, dude. And Roman knows that.
Yeah. I love Roman's he's talking to him, and he just drops the line like, the problem is your brother. Just that, the problem. No, it's and we get to Jimmy coming out. Can't be a tribal chief and a twin at the same time.
Damn, dude. I was like,
which is true. Like, that's always been the issue with the Usos. And that's why I'm even sitting here and I'm like, Jay and Roman can't main event SummerSlam because it's Jey Uso. Like, that's always been my critique. And Roman just pulled that out like perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be a top main event star and also be a twin. So he's putting so much, like, so many thoughts that are coming from all these different, what fans are thinking, what the other protagonists and antagonists in the story are thinking, all in this one promo, which I think is so interesting. Like, and at the same time, he's doing it in a way that's still, he's trying to find a way to manipulate the Usos. That's always how it's been from the start. He is just trying to manipulate these two.
Yeah.
All the way back from when Jimmy comes back and, he hugs both of them and he looks in the camera. He gives that Bret Hart, you made me do this. You left me no choice. God.
And they always they weave in the childhood stuff where, Roman was always the leader of the pack, like the one that, like, they were both of those two were trying to catch up to.
Yeah.
Get it.
You talk about family stuff, Mr. Prom King.
Yeah, Mr. Most Likely to Succeed. But the other thing too is I always forget that, like, I always think Jimmy's technically the older one. I mean, I know Jay, but it's Jimmy that's obviously there's no real older one because they're the same age, but, like, your big brother. I was like, holy shit. And then did you know his name was Joshua? I didn't know Jey Uso's name.
Yeah.
He said that. Joshua, like, he actually said his actual name. I was like, holy shit, his name's Joshua.
I knew Jonathan for Jimmy because that was, I mean, you get that from Total Divas. But I feel like I heard somewhere that he was Joshua. It kind of just stuck with me.
But it was just weird that, like, he said his actual name. So it was like, he threw his government name out there. So now it's like, oh no, he's serious. He might, oh man, this might be it. The Usos might be done.
Yeah. But did you know that Solo's real name is Jimmy?
I did not know that.
Well, I made that up.
Oh no! Oh man, damn it!
So we get just the end part here, Wise man. And Paul, he comes up. I love you, my tribal chief. Yes, my tribal chief.
Yeah, I love you, my tribal chief. Like, he didn't ask you if you loved him or not. He said, "Wise man."
He just felt the need to throw that in there. He was just so happy with everything that was going on. He's
not you can't get rid of it. He's not your wise man. He's my wise man. When you become the leader of the bloodline, you get your own wise man.
I totally forgot about that.
Remember he said that? He's like, no.
When you become the tribal chief, you can pick your own wise man. This is my wise.
This cameraman right here, this is my cameraman.
He's not here for you. He's not here for you. He's here for me. He's here for me.
Roman's best promos is when he just starts saying, this thing right here, this is my thing. Those are his best fucking promos because he's just claiming things.
Oh my god!
This mug right here, this is my mug.
This camera right here, this is my cameraman. But Paul Heyman comes up. Yes, my tribal chief, I love you, my tribal chief.
And then Roman's like, who is the only person to have a problem with us picking Jay as the next head of the table? And Paul's like, I didn't have a problem with it. And then they both look over at Jimmy. Jay's like, is that true? Jimmy's like, yeah, that's true. And then we get the whole, Mr. Prom King, listen to your older brother, Joshua.
Mr. Most Likely to Succeed.
And
he used to, that promo when he cut, he was like, you got hurt. I stepped up. I started main eventing.
Yeah.
I main evented SmackDowns. I main evented pay-per-views and all this stuff. He's right. He's not right. He's like, it's because of this guy right here. He's, I mean, granted, those main events were against Roman.
Right. No, right.
And he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Too.
Dude, I love this part from Jay because he, like, the whole part about him saying, when you got injured, I stepped up.
Yeah. Even though you're the older brother, and
I'm not the stepfather. I'm the father that stepped up.
Yeah, no,
just really just going in for it.
Did he say like, because you know what's best for both of us, that type of thing? Like, because he's the older brother, like he knows what's best. They're twins. They're locked in. They know, like obviously we're twins, but we're different people. We're not the same type of thing. Yeah. Then he goes from that I stepped up. It's all because of this man right here.
Yeah, that's what got me. He's talking about, because then you start to think like, oh fuck, like we forget, but he was the right hand man. Like he name dropped the right hand man. They haven't been calling him that in a while. Main event Jey Uso. They haven't been calling him that.
That was on purpose. That was to get him back.
And then he turns around and he points to Roman. I'm like, fuck. Like he's about
and Roman's like laughing. If you watch Roman's video, he's like,
Roman is dying. Like
so
he
excited.
is glee. Like you see the just sheer smiles on his face. He's like, I am winning right now. And then Jay's like, so you know what? You out. You're out. And I'm thinking, Jay's going to just walk back and stand with, and this just opens up another wrinkle in this story. And I'm out too. Boom.
Dude.
The pop, the sell from Roman sold it like he got just obliterated. Paul's facial expressions, Solo showing some emotion, like, what the fuck? They throw out Solo, and the best part of this whole segment, Roman's on the floor. He's doing the
and he's like
the jaw that he always does. That he's shaking, make sure his jaw isn't broken, and he's just pissed and he's slamming on the floor. He's like, "Whoa, what are you doing? What is that and the other thing?" He stands up, double super kick. Roman sells it like a gunshot.
Yeah.
Boom. Snaps back.
Yeah.
And that's how you end the segment.
Damn.
And we're getting the Bloodline Civil War at Money in the Bank.
Yep.
That's how they're putting it. So good. I'm sorry. This is the greatest story of all time.
Yeah.
Nothing's topping this.
No.
3 years in the making.
I mean, it's still going. It's still
going.
What happens after this? Something's going to happen.
Hit 4 years. This might hit 4 fucking years of the story, and it hasn't gotten stale. It's only gotten stale
after WrestleMania
for 1 month.
When Roman disappeared for like a month, and we were like,
right.
"What the fuck happened?"
And
to
even
Roman?
then, it was still telling story. Backlashes. It was still a good moment.
Well, yeah,
because
there's
not been a single stale moment involving Roman in this whole story.
Yeah. Trying to fit. Yeah, like I said, I'm always wary. You never know what's going to happen at the end of this. This Civil War match. Is it all a ruse?
Yeah.
You don't double kick Roman and freaking just join the Bloodline again.
No, I don't see that happening.
Will make his exit at some point. Do they win? I think. I mean,
I think the Usos have to win this.
You think so?
I think so. Because then it becomes what happens at SummerSlam. Now, it's probably going to be Roman and Jay at SummerSlam, which makes sense. However, we're talking about 3 years that the story's been going on. I want to see Roman and Jay. What's the September pay-per-view? Because they just announced. Is it Payback?
Payback. An exact. Yeah. It'll be.
Do it at Payback. Because it's 3 years in September.
I mean,
the show is called Payback.
Well, a lot of people are. Payback is when he won the title.
Payback's when he won the title. Yep.
And a lot of people are thinking
Jay is going to get payback for all of the manipulation and torture that Roman put him through.
Either that or someone else might get some payback, which would be he's probably not going to return at any point in time. But Bray Wyatt.
Oh God. Maybe not.
Just a full circle moment where that's what
I mean, I guess that would be all right if they did that. It's just another match, whatever. But
yeah, yeah, man. Jay's the one that's come closest to. I mean, besides Cody, we'll say anyone out. The only person outside of the bloodline to come close to being Roman was Cody. He almost hit him with 3 freaking crossroads, and that would have been it.
Yep.
But Jay is the closest to come because that I Quit match, where he was never quitting. He only quit because Roman freaking put Jimmy in a guillotine choke and made him quit. Other than that, it would have. So, like, I don't know, man. I think it's in the making. You're probably right. It's going to be SummerSlam's probably going to be Jay and Roman. Who's a contender for Roman at SummerSlam besides like I've heard AJ Styles is going to challenge him at some point, but I don't see an AJ Styles Roman match. You got to keep. It
can't be anyone except for the next 3 title defenses for Roman.
Maybe Jimmy.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It needs to be Roman and Jimmy, Roman and Jay, and then Roman and Solo.
Yeah.
Those are the next 3 title defenses for Roman. And that will end the bloodline story. And you would think that Roman and Jay would end the bloodline story, but Solo's still in the mix of things. I don't know.
I was hearing rumors or reading rumors, I should say, that at some point Roman, I'm not sure if it's going to be after hiatus or, after this whole thing finishes up, that they're going to start putting him into the babyface, like on the path of becoming a babyface. Now, how they do that, I'm not sure. Like how that, the crowd's already cheering for him and stuff like that.
He's got to lose the title first, of course, but
the only thing I can think of is reforming the bloodline, but without him in it. That's the only thing I can think of. Is like Jay, Jimmy, Solo, and even Heyman.
Yeah, maybe.
Continue the bloodline and kind of oust Roman. But I'm not sure. They'll figure out a way how to do it. They've been...
Yeah. They figured out 3 years worth of story. I'm sure they'll figure that out too.
They have to figure out a way to get Jimmy and Jay as heels. That's the other side. That's like the flip side. They have to be heels. It has to be a turn. So it has to be like they have to turn face at the same time. Roman has to be looked at as a face, but I'm not sure how you do it. But
SmackDown was great though.
So good. They ended it just with another jaw-dropping finish.
Some filler on this episode of SmackDown. It wasn't a perfect show, but the stuff that you came for.
You got. We were sports entertained, as we like to say.
Yeah. And we've only got 20 minutes left on this show, so we'll have to do a quick wrap up of
speed round.
Raw. We'll talk about the big moments here on.
It's almost as bad as Raw.
Raw wasn't actually bad. It was good.
It was good too. Tommaso Ciampa returns. Fight is apparently he was supposed to face Seth in the opening segment. Of course, Seth got attacked by Finn Balor. That was the story throughout the show. Repeatedly, Finn would go and attack Seth, and then it was confused. We weren't sure if Seth was going to be able to fight Braun. He would go face Braun Breaker, but Ciampa's back. Are they going to do the DIY stuff?
I think so at some point.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah, they got to build up the tag division some more. Why not bring them 2 back together? Get them both on the, get them some notoriety.
Yeah.
I don't think they're cutting it right now as singles competitors. Bring back DIY and have them go for the tag straps. Like I said, build the division as much as you can. The tag division.
Notice how Tommaso's theme song
changed.
Back.
Yeah, back to the original.
Yeah,
which is pretty awesome. So
good for him. Good to see him back. It was like 9 months that he was out. So it's also good that they ended the union with the Miz and Tommaso. Kind of tying that. It's a perfect way to bring him back.
Yeah.
We get obviously the Chelsea Green TikTok.
Package was
so good. I'm sorry,
funny.
That was fantastic. And then they lose to Katana and Kaden. Whatever. Indusher beat the Hurt Business. Remember when we were talking about the Hurt Business coming back? Yeah, remember that?
I wish.
All right, so we'll get into this now. Logan Paul made his return in Cleveland. This guy only shows up in Cleveland. God damn.
Yeah.
But he's on top of a ladder. They put the spotlight on the briefcase. You know what that means. Logan Paul is in Money in the Bank. And you said before that it's a swerve. But Logan Paul has lost the last 3 matches that he's been in. Roman, the Royal Rumble, and Seth. I don't know if he loses another match.
If it was another one-on-one match, I would say that, but it's a Money in the Bank match with 6 other dudes. So it's really not a loss.
So.
To me,
I don't know.
It's like a triple threat match. It's like if you don't get pinned in a triple threat match, it's like you really didn't lose. You just weren't there. Wrong place, wrong time, essentially.
Yeah,
I think it saves him if he loses in the Money in the Bank. I don't think it's going to hurt him at all, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, unless they have a plan for LA Knight that doesn't include the Money in the Bank, which...
No.
This jacket right here, shoes of a champion. Did I just say shoes of a champion? Yeah.
I got this map right here. And it takes you to the location where you can stick all those bottles of Prime. Yeah.
He's fantastic.
I love that. I love him coming out just roasting everybody in the ring. That was great.
So I guess I had a brain fart there. Are you fine with the way that they just threw Logan Paul in the match? There wasn't really any other way to do it.
I kind of predicted that they're in Cleveland. He was showing up. It was either he was going to be the challenger to Seth Rollins, which I don't think they would do because that's like a main event type of match, or it was going to be him being the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
They just
look, I mean, there's a positive that I could take away from this Logan Paul segment was I loved this promo. I don't know if this was intentional, but if you really listen to him talk, every other line was face, heel, face, heel. He was going back and forth. He starts off, it's great to be back in Cleveland. Yeah. I know that you all missed me because you haven't had a star here in a while.
Yeah.
And then he says something positive, and then he says something negative. I don't know if someone wrote it intentionally, but I really hope that this is every promo for him because it makes sense because he's so unpredictable. He is so controversial. People have so many different opinions about him. That type of promo just encapsulates who Logan Paul is. He's divisive. People think of him all these different ways. So you get their support, you turn on them. But you're able to get that support one more time, it's still you shun them away.
Yeah.
Literally, go back and listen to the promo. Line after line. It was something positive, negative, positive, negative. I loved it. I hope they continue to do it. Maybe not. But
yeah, he did that with the Cleveland is known for like losers, and he's like, like the Browns and the blah blah blah. And he's like, my brother lost his last fight. He's like, I lost my last. So it was like, boo to the Browns, but then like you said, he kind of softened it up with him and his brother losing. Yeah. So it was like, he is kind of doing like like you said, like the face heel type of thing.
Which is great.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool that he's actually doing that.
Looks like we're getting Riddle versus Gunther at Money in the Bank.
Yep. Gunther.
It'll be a good match. I'm like shunning it already, but I've just
they'll beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah. Riddle's just been all right for me. When he's come back, he's become I wouldn't say he's at the just another guy territory.
Yeah.
But it's a weird mix of what they're doing. Like backstage is talking with Sammy and Kevin. And he's like, oh, have you really watched any movies lately? I'm really liking this movie with this guy. And then he goes in the ring and he's a killer. Like, pick a side. What are we doing here? By the way, I didn't even mention Sammy and Kevin Owens. Their story throughout the show was, can Kevin Owens keep his composure? Find out on the next episode of Monday Night Raw. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Cody and Dom. I like their kind of like, Dom being like the sneaky brat dude, just getting his licks in and then running away. It's actually pretty funny.
I really hope Dom wins at Money in the Bank.
You think he's gonna win?
I think he should win.
He might,
because I mean, obviously, I've been saying obviously a lot lately. Brock's gonna come in.
Oh yeah, he's gonna make
Cody.
Yeah.
And you need to let Dom get a big win. It also helps that Cody's in a story right now where it allows for him to take some losses. So give a win to Dom. Just let him ride over the fact that, and look, this is another thing that we've been saying, like, you don't want Dom to get stale, right? You can only ride off of this Rey Mysterio heat for so long. If they want to rejuvenate this, have Dom beat Cody. Cody's the most over guy in the company right now, babyface wise. That's a way to get your heat back.
Yeah, you could do that. True. What will probably happen is if Brock does come out, it's probably going to be like a DQ, and Cody will get the win via DQ because it will be obviously in Dominic's favor. I'm just wondering if we get a Rhea Brock Lesnar face off.
Yeah, that would be good.
Because she likes to get everyone's faces. Maybe Brock takes liberties and just freaking F5s Dom, and then Rhea's like, "What the hell?" and gets in his face. He just does his Brock Lesnar smirk that he does and tips his cowboy hat.
I hope they do that. I hope they do that. Natalya and Rhea didn't happen again. What was that? What are they doing to Natalya?
I don't know, man.
I mean, I've never been a huge Natalya fan, but fuck.
Seems like her and what's her name, Dana Brooke too. Everyone's
Dana Brooke. I mean, I forgot Dana Brooke's even on the show. Yeah, I do like I like the promo that they did with Natty though. The kind of self-doubt,
Yeah.
Maybe there's more to this.
Yeah, maybe it could be part of a storyline.
More to come.
We'll see.
Raquel Rodriguez
Dang.
loses to Trish. Stupid finish with Becky.
You think so?
Yeah.
Stupid. Like what? Why they do it? Why they do a finish like that? Or
yeah, like why did Becky attack Trish?
Well, no, she's blind rage. She wasn't thinking.
I know, but I don't know. I guess it's a good way to get Raquel out of the situation where like you would want her in Money in the Bank because you want her to go up against Rhea. So it makes sense, but I don't know.
Yeah.
The way that Raquel just ragdolled Trish. Trish sold her ass off for Raquel. She
did that. I was actually watching, someone posted the video of her and Viscera.
Oh, right.
And, when he did that to her, he picked her up and he's like shaking her. She's like flailing. He just throws her on the ground. I don't think you could do that. I mean, you won't be able to probably find that on the WWE Network.
Yeah, probably not.
So YouTube it if you want to see it, or scroll through social media because I don't think you can watch that type of behavior anymore. But yeah, she's done that a few times.
Yeah,
I don't know how she does it, but
I don't know,
and how she doesn't get hurt doing it because that looks painful.
Bronson Reed beat Shinsuke. Shinsuke's in Money in the Bank, by the way. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah.
And then I didn't watch this match. Cody, Sammy, and Kevin Owens defeated the Judgment Day.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good match.
That's one thing about Raw that I picked up on is Raw seems to be it's more of a focus on the wrestling. I think they've established that.
Yep.
The main events have been 20 minutes minimum the last few shows. That kind of takes me out of it, only because the main event has been predictable for the last few Raws. Like, Seth's going to defend his title successfully. You know that Cody and Kevin and Sammy are going to win, and it's going to go 20, 25 minutes. It's going to be a long fucking match. I think SmackDown has done a much better job with keeping me invested throughout the entirety of the show. Not just because it's 3 hours. Like, the 3 hours really never bugged me. It's just that we get to that main event, and it's like, what you're going to get. You know that you're going to get the 20, 25 minute match. You know who the winner is going to be. It's even worse if it's a title match, because unless it's against like a strong challenger, you're not getting a championship change. So I think SmackDown has succeeded where Raw has failed in keeping viewers, at least for the last segment. I'm not saying that they've kept them throughout, because SmackDown has been kind of weak in the middle of the card when it's not obviously the Bloodline.
Yeah.
But they at least kept viewers at the end. Maybe that's just
true.
me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe people like the long matches, but it seems a little bit too much.
True.
Maybe cut it down a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. No, you
give like a strong reason. That's what AEW was struggling with for a while. Like, there was no reason to watch next week, like no cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I mean, they just ended this past Dynamite with Okada in the ring, staring down Danielson. Like, give something to tune into next week. I'm not saying you need Brock to come out and beat up Cody or something like that, but, if it's not going to be interesting to end off with Cody, Sammy, and Kevin Owens, and it's not like a tune in next week, maybe end off with someone else. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion.
No, I get that. Yeah, no, you're definitely right about that. I thought they're going to swerve us and have DIY be his partners. That's what I thought was going to happen.
That would have been good.
Cleveland. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, but that would have been good.
It was going to be Cody and DIY, but that didn't happen. But
I would have liked them to have ended the show with the Seth Rollins segment.
Oh, him
same way. Yeah, same way that it happened, because people are going to tune in for an open challenge. I was really tuning in for Raw to see who was going to fight Seth for that world title.
I kind of figured
it was a good angle with Finn. I don't know why they didn't just end off the show with that.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I kind of figured they're going to go that route, because, he had to face Braun Breaker the next night. So, I mean, you don't want to oversaturate the open, challenge type of deal.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of like kill it there. But, and I do also appreciate the fact that they didn't play Finn Balor's music when he attacked. They're starting to it seems like they're starting to get away from that.
Yep.
I think that happened with Becky too. They didn't play Becky's music, right? When she attacked.
No.
It was like, whoa! She comes running down.
No.
Like, I like the fact that they're actually doing that, because AEW does that. I like AEW. That's one thing I love about AEW. When someone does a run in, there's no.
They just did that with Punk, yeah.
Yeah, with Punk, like running. I'm not supposed to be on this show.
I'm tired of being nice.
Dude,
what a guy. Punk.
I know we're not the AEW show, but Collision this week might be better than that whole card stacked on Saturday. It might be a better show than Dynamite.
Oh.
Collision seems like it's always booked to be a better show than Dynamite for some reason.
I'm sorry. I know we've got like 6 minutes left. We could just end it on Dynamite talk here. I know we have a very hardcore AEW fan base here at the tavern, and yes. I'm a big AEW fan too. If they canceled Dynamite today and they just put Collision on TV, I would be the biggest AEW fan, because what you got on Saturday was such a good show between Buddy and Andrade, everything involving Punk, obviously, Miro coming back, Samoa Joe and CM Punk. That was a good show. Dynamite was all right this past Dynamite.
Yeah.
But I mean, Tanahashi's on the show, the 8-man tag,
Dude, Tanahashi and Swerve, dude.
Darby and Sting.
Darby and Sting.
That's a reason to watch. Who's going to be that third man? Fuck, Collision's good. Collision is good. Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness on the call.
Exactly. That's even another selling point right there.
Even Jim Ross was tolerable.
Yeah.
And when can you say that in AEW?
First ever. Oh, actually, no, that's on Rampage. The first ever MJF appearance will be there.
Right. That's on Rampage.
Dude, Andrade and Brody.
Andrade and Brody King. Like what?
Brody, yeah.
Wow. It's a good show.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked out Collision yet, check out Collision.
Yeah, I'm a Collision fan.
I'm a big Collision fan. All right. Let's wrap up the show.
Who won the week?
This is a tough one.
Yeah, it is. I was about to say that. Damn.
Who do you got?
I'm gonna go SmackDown just because of that. Just for the storyline weaving throughout the show.
Yeah.
The end, obviously. We'll dismiss it. AJ Styles getting squashed. And all that other stuff.
Getting squashed.
LA Knight getting squashed. Yeah, we'll dismiss that.
Yeah. SmackDown won it for me. But still a decent Raw.
Yeah, no, Raw was good.
Bloodline really shone bright on this episode. All right. I guess that's it.
Hey, yo.
Marco, real quick, plug what you got going on for Chick Foley.
We'll make it fast. Just chickfoley.com. That's where you find all the goodies. Obviously, Facebook group, join up when you go to chickfoley.com. Chick Foley Show on Twitter, Chick Foley on IG, Pod Foundation. Check out all the brethren, as Sheena likes to say. Turnbuckle Tavern, the Extra Cooler Show, coming down the aisle. We make movies.
We make movies.
I don't know why I said that.
And you can make sure to give J-Bone a check his website out at comingdowntheaislepod.com. Once again, the longest URL you'll find in pro wrestling podcast history, comingdowntheaislepod.com. And I have nothing to plug, so just maybe I'll have something to plug in the future. There's been discussions of some stuff, but we'll see in the future. We're going to go quick on these plugs. Folks, like what you heard, I'm aware that you did. Go to theturnbuckletavern.com, follow us on all of our social medias, watch all of our videos, and join our Discord, because I'm sure it's going to be lighting it up for Forbidden Door. ProWrestlingTees.com/tavern is the place to get all of your official tavern merch. All of our misfits here at the tavern have their shirts to purchase. Teespring is also a place to get some RAWDOWN merch. If you want the logo on a shirt, that's the place to get it. Go to theturnbuckletavern.com and click on the link to get your RAWDOWN merch. And finally, call the tavern at 304-404-2004. Hear your message played on the flagship show. Call the tavern and let us know what you thought of RAWDOWN. Once again, that's 304-404-2004. 304-404-2004. Folks, J-Bone's going to be back next week. Boo. But we're going to be back next week. Yay. I'm kidding. I'm excited to see J-Bone back finally. Next week will be a good episode. Next week's going to be our predictions episode for Money in the Bank. Is it not?
Yes, it will be.
So
Money in the Bank Saturday.
That's
next Saturday.
Going to be a fun one.
Oh, boy.
All righty, folks. Tough. We will see you on the next one. But as always,
life sucks, and then you die.